First of all, glad to be here. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Quick review. Glad we took care of business, got it done, and found a way to win the football game last week, and ready to move on to an obviously new opponent here, Clemson. Thanksgiving weekend. Excited about it.
Obviously, there are a couple more games left and more story to write about this team, but 11 games in, how would you, I guess, I don't want to say write the story, but how would you describe your defense and where they're at to this point in the season?
Yes, just describing our defense right now, just a bunch of guys who decided to come back and really play for each other. Um, you know, Easily last year some things could have changed, and a domino effect didn't start of guys leaving and stuff like that, led by Boogie, Tonka, TJ. Those guys have just decided to let's come back and have a great year. I think just being consistent and guys having fun this year. I can see guys, just having a lot of fun and at practice and at games, joking with coaches, picking on coaches. Just we found a way to keep this thing fun. So I think that's been the most important thing that I've seen, besides some of the things that are on the field for sure.
When you look at the tape of Clemson and you watch Klubnik and his dual skill abilities, you've kind of faced that in practice every day. So having Lenoris and having to defend him in practice, how might that help you in preparing for what Klubnik can do?
Yes, obviously, Cade has been, obviously he's a much improved quarterback. He come from a quarterback-centric high school in Westlake High School in Austin, Texas. High school of Drew Brees and Nick Foles and a bunch of other superstars. I think he was 3-time state player of the year. So just understanding going against a player like that. Obviously, we have Lenoris on our team. That is a good comparison. But definitely he's playing some really good football now, Cade is. And he got a lot of people around him that's really helping him look a lot better there. He's definitely playing some really good football. Up front, those guys are doing a great job too as well.
Looking at what Clemson does on offense, there seems like there's a lot of similarities in the run game to what Missouri does as far as the types of runs.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle said on yesterday that one of the secrets to improving would be the point of attack.
Mm-hmm.
Is when you look at the film as a coach, what do you see?
Well, this is like my 12th time going against Clemson as a player. 4 games at NC State, 4 games here. Obviously, they've never lacked offensive production. So things that we see on tape is obviously them. They have really good tight ends between Jake, OP Henry, and then they also have Sapp. They have really good tight ends. The tight end room is really good. The running backs between Maffa and 26 are really, really productive. They do a great job of spreading the ball around to their receivers. Zero, Antonio, then they got Bryant, the receiver. Then they also have number 1, TJ, the receiver from Tampa. So they have weapons all over the field. That's how it's always been, from Sammy Watkins to Mike Davis, to Mike Williams. It's just always been a bunch of guys that you have to deal with at Clemson, and this is just another one of those years when they're doing the same thing.
With Dylan and Kyle both chasing a couple records held by a pretty big name, have a chance to break those records this weekend. Do you hear those guys talking much about that? Does it come up in meetings? Like, do y'all joke about it? Serious talk about it? How does that kind of go with those guys?
It's been one of those things. It's been a little bit of both, but for the most part, our guys, you may hear them talking about it or just wondering, what would that be like? But I think they're really focusing on trying to make sure that we do a good job against their O-line and keeping Cade in the pocket, making sure he doesn't get outside the pocket. He's very dangerous whenever he's moving around and making plays. And, it's kind of like our quarterback that we've seen. He broke some sacks and scrambled and throw 45-yard passes down the field. So we understand what we're facing. So, obviously you want to continue the production that we have and keep it going and just make sure we're playing smart football and understand who we're facing is how you get things done, understanding your opponent.
How do you like the matchup of your defensive ends against their tackles, knowing that they've gone through a bunch of injuries as well on their offensive line? And then do you, because of Klubnik's running ability, do you have to kind of consider keeping a spy in there in the middle of the field to contain him in some way?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, we love our defensive ends against a lot of teams in the country. Our defensive line, they have a really good offensive line between the tackles Tristan and Blake, and they have Walker. Also, Ryan as center. They're all pretty good. They also have Marcus as a guard. But for the most part, our guys are looking forward to all those matchups. But Clemson is definitely, they have a couple guys banged up, but I'm pretty sure they'll be ready to go this weekend, like most guys will. I think just making sure that our guys understand who we're playing at quarterback, and it's really not about beating your one-on-one. It's also about understanding the type of quarterback you're facing. So you can beat your guy one-on-one, but if he steps up and runs for 15 yards, that's not beating your guy one-on-one. So our guys understand what we got to get done.
I guess sort of along those lines, when you're talking to your guys about trying to, keep the quarterback in the pocket, keep him contained, or however you phrase it, how challenging is that to stress that? Because I would imagine sometimes in the heat of the moment, guys are, getting up the field, playing as hard as possible and as fast as possible, might lose sight of that in a split second. So how do you try to reinforce that during the week?
Well, it's one of those things where if you wait until this week to try to start doing it, you have no shot. So one, we started this conversation in January. We've had NFL coaches come here and talk to us about pass rush. We've had pass rush specialists come and talk about pass rush. We've done everything. We've had multiple meetings, me, Coach Robinson, the D staff, Coach Lucas, along with everyone else, just talking about pass rush and how to work together. I think that's the best thing that we've improved in up front. Got to give Coach Robinson and Coach Lucas most of that credit of gelling together. I've been on staffs where the DNs coach and the D tackles coach on different pages on certain things, but our guys are linked together, and it's obviously paying off. And obviously, as the coordinator, you love it when your front guys are on the same page.